Radioactively enhanced loons. Covert Somali shadow government influence.
But they also want to conquer the state of Minnesota and turn it into Minnesota stand.
Twitter bots attacking democracy.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? Get your ass.
This is the story of Minnesota's new state flag.
We've got the flag of Galmudug. Looks suspiciously. It's not a perfect. It's not a 1-to-1, but it's pretty close.
In the world of American state flags, Minnesota's hardly stands out. With its typical blue background and overly complex state seal slapped in the middle, it's easy to lose in a crowd of all 50. Compared to more aesthetically pleasing flags like California's, Arizona's, or even full-on badass ones like Virginia's, it kinda sucks. And as a proud Minnesotan myself, I'm allowed to say it sucks. It's boring, bland, forgettable, and according to some, it's even racist. And so when the Democratic Party of Minnesota won full control of all 3 levels of state government in 2022, they promised to create a commission to replace the old state flag and accept new design submissions from the public. And the great people of Minnesota responded.
What they've done with this flag is absolutely
is the population up there enraged?
But first, let's take a quick look at the old flag. As you can see, it's one of those basic blue background, state seal in the middle types like half state flags are. If you really squint your eyes, you can see it's got the state motto and state flower, some cute little star patterns, and an image of a farmer and Native American on horseback. While state statute claims that the Native American was included to represent the indigenous heritage of Minnesota, others claimed it was a depiction of white supremacy and genocide, with the farmer shown pushing the Native American off the land. Aside from the flag being kinda bland, these accusations of racism were a big part of the push to redesign in the first place. But anyways, let's go through some of the submissions. As you can see, they really range from professional to like something a kindergarten made to just weird. Some honorable mentions are 516, which as you can see features a badass double-headed loon like it's the Balkans or something. 253, which is just whatever the hell this is. And the classic 156, which is just some random guy's dog. Oh, and I should also mention that they also took submissions to change the state seal, but since this isn't a video about state seals and they're kinda lame, I'll just skip to the winner. In the end, the commission narrowed down that list to more than 2,000 to just 6. Now if you're like me and seemingly the rest of Minnesota, you'll agree that out of all those beautiful submissions, they hardly made the best picks. I mean, they really chose what looks to be a cabbage man holding the decapitated head of another cabbage man up to the sun over the badass double-headed loon? Regardless, that list of 6 was further nailed down, and F29, which had quickly become a favorite of the people, was cut, and submission F1953 was chosen as the winner. Even then, the committee ended up drastically altering the design, removing the stripes and changing the star. And with that, the drama began.
The flag looks like flags in Somalia. It's the same color,
We're going to pull it up. It's unbelievable.
But how did a simple flag redesign become so political and downright violent? After all, it's hardly the first flag in the US to be redesigned in the last few years. Aside from people's qualms with the committee's 6 finalists, a lot of people weren't open to the idea of a new state flag in the first place. One poll actually showed that only 23% of Minnesotans were in favor of the chosen design, 21% preferred one of the other submissions, and 49% wanted to keep the old flag. And if you look at the poll results broken down by party, it's clear that the flag redesign has become more of a political issue than a design one. While 46% of liberals were found to support the new flag, only 12% of conservatives were. In the end, it seems the fight over Minnesota's new flag is just another battle in the growing ideological divide that's currently facing the US, a fate Minnesota has been unable to avoid. As a purple state with a deep rural-urban divide, Minnesota is no stranger to the ugliness of ideological disputes. But anyways, that still leaves the question, what does Somalia have to do with any of this? As you may know, Minnesota is home to the largest Somali population in the US, including Somali-born Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Mainly coming as refugees following the onset of the Somali Civil War in 1991, they make up only about 1.5% of the state's population. Replacing the state flag, according to right-wing personalities, was all part of a larger plot by Ilhan Omar and the rest of the Somali shadow government secretly running Minnesota to slowly but surely convert Minnesota into Minnesota Stan. As far as I can tell, the allegations of Somali influence in the flag redesign process started with this guy on Twitter claiming that the original redesign resembled the flag of the Somali state of Jubaland, which then got picked up by your typical right-wing media figures such as Charlie Kirk, Steve Bannon, and of course your friendly neighborhood Russian Twitter bots. Though the exact flags it supposedly resembled kept changing along the way. It also attracted the attention of this gentleman, who, believe it or not, is the Republican nominee for the upcoming Senate race against Amy Klobuchar. But is there any truth to their theory? First, given that the guy who designed what eventually became the new flag is literally some random white kid from Will, Minnesota, I find it unlikely he colluded with any secretive Somali cabal. Not to mention that the final design was edited so much that it no longer bears much resemblance to the flags of Jubaland or Puntland. And of course, none of the figures involved have offered any evidence to back their claims aside from pure speculation. However, it's worth admitting that the final flag design and the national flag of Somalia share some characteristics, both featuring a white star and a light blue background. Does this prove the theory? I'm not so sure, but many seem to believe so. But why? Why would any supposed secret Somali elite, which, may I remind you, makes up only 1.5% of the state's population, go through all this trouble to conspire to redesign an obscure state flag to slightly resemble that of the very nation they escaped? That is a question I leave for you to decide, dear viewer. But I imagine it's the same reason Beyonce continues to mock us with her Illuminati symbology, King Charles taunts us with his Satanist agenda, and Bill Clinton